So, if you guys are wondering what it's like to be married and have 3 kids and work a full time job and have a crippling addiction to movies and books, this hat pretty much sums it up. I'm pretty much broke all the time. I'm just kidding. Anyways, guys, it is the end of the month. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dustin. At the end of every month here, we go through and show all like the cool physical media pickups, whether it be like Funko Pops, it'd be movies, it'd be books. It's mostly movies. This is a page dedicated to movies. As you clearly see, I love movies. I also love books. So I know this is going to be uploaded kind of before the end of the month, but my work schedule had to change. They made Saturdays mandatory for managers, and now I have to work like every Saturday. So my days that I would normally film are now going to be all flip-flopped. So yeah, I actually have another video coming out that I'm going to try to film later that you guys may see like later on after this one. I don't know when, but I do plan on having another video. So if you see me wearing the same stuff, don't question it. I filmed both videos in one day. So we're going to go ahead and start. I got a couple things here. I got a really cool candle. I got a small stack of movies. And there's some books here. It may look like a lot of books. It's really not. There's just really big, thick books that make the stack look bigger than what it really is. So, I'm actually going to start with like the candle, then I'm going to do the books, and I'm going to save the movies for last. Last month, I did the books last because I had like 20 new ones. Yeah, I'm done with books for quite some time. So you may not see any books in the coming months unless there's one that comes out that I really want. But yeah, it's probably not going to happen. My TBR is absolutely massive. So there's that. So we're going to kick it off with this candle. So in the town where I actually work and where my wife and I used to live, they do this festival every summer. It's like 3 days long over a weekend. And it's just like a little vendor show, a craft show, and people go and make really cool things. I think last year, like I got a Michael Myers tumbler that my wife had custom made there. It was really cool. And this year there was somebody who had candles. And this candle is blood orange scented. And I had to get it because I absolutely love this movie. And as you can see, it is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This is a homemade candle. So it's awesome. It smells really good. I haven't lit it yet, but I plan on it. But I mean, just this image in general is just awesome. I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. One of my favorite horror movies. It's just so good. It's so good. Move my little fidget knife out of the way. My son got one of these, and then I went on Amazon and bought like a 6-pack, and they're just super fun to play with. Let's go ahead and get into the books. So, for Father's Day, these are all Stephen King, by the way. For Father's Day, my wife got me this 5-book Stephen King box set that I wanted because every book in there is a book I wanted to read, and it was cheaper to buy the box set than it was to buy the books individually. And I really wanted the box set specifically for Cujo. I wanted all the books, but specifically to read Cujo because in Stephen King's new book, You Like It Darker, is the short story sequel to Cujo called Rattlesnakes. So I wanted to read Cujo before I dove into You Like It Darker. So, speaking of Cujo, that is my current read. I'm just under like 100 pages in. I just started reading this a couple days ago, and I really have only had a chance to read it at night before bed and a little bit of downtime at work. So like I'm really kind of slow getting through this one. The last couple books I read, I flew through. This one's kind of slowing me down just because I just don't have the time to really sit down and read a ton. But yeah, Cujo. And so the box set came in like these rainbow spines. I know you can buy these individually, and some go for stupid, crazy amounts of money. I'm not into collecting all those. I don't care enough. Like I said, it was just cheaper to buy this box set than it was to buy these books individually. So we got Cujo. We have Firestarter. Again, these all came in the box set. And when they're in there, they kind of make like a little gradient. You'll see like they kind of go together. It's really cool. It's a cool set. But we have Firestarter. It's a pretty thick book. We have Salem's Lot, one of the books that I'm super excited to dive into. I feel like after I finish You Like It Darker, I'm going straight into Salem's Lot. And I'm going to hit this book real hard because I've heard nothing but amazing things about this one. And then we have Doctor Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining. And this cover, it just looks so good. I don't know, this artwork is awesome. I really like these editions. And then, you know, that being the sequel to The Shining, obviously you have to read The Shining. So I will be reading this before Doctor Sleep. But yeah, I'm definitely going to read You Like It Darker and Salem's Lot. And then I'll probably dive into something else. Eventually I'll get to like Firestarter and Doctor Sleep and The Shining. But yeah, I don't know. I just have so many other books that I want to read before these ones. But The Shining, really cool. And then these next two I got on Mercari for like $4. There was a series of 3 books. One was a duplicate of a book that I already have in this pile, so I'm actually reselling that one. But the first one here, we have Dolores Claiborne, and I believe this is like a first edition. All these books that I got are first editions. I don't know if that means anything to anybody. Like, I'm not really... There are people like that exclusively collect first edition books. Some of them are stupidly expensive unless you find them out in the wild. If I can find a Stephen King book for cheap, I don't care if it's first edition, 99th edition. I don't care. I want it because I like Stephen King. But we have Dolores Claiborne. I've heard really good things about this book. Not as long as some of his other works, which is okay. I enjoy Stephen King for his characters, and he is very, very good at writing characters. And my light just died. That's awesome. So, yeah, there's going to be just a weird shadow covering my face because my light died. So there's that. But we have Dolores Claiborne here. And then this also came with it, and that is Insomnia. This is a massive book. A massive book. I would assume, from what I heard, like, this isn't very, like, horror-ish. It's kind of like a slice-of-life book where this guy basically has insomnia, and he can't sleep, and he doesn't sleep for a really long time, and then he starts seeing, like, auras around people, and, like, he's learning about the people because of the aura around them. That's just what I gathered. I don't know. I'm not too excited to really like dive into this book anytime soon. Eventually I'll get there. It's massive, and I just have so many other books I want to read first. But if you have read Insomnia, let me know what you think about it, because I would love to know. And then we have 2 books that I love the artwork on these. This is the one that came with Mercari, but like the extra one. But I got this one on Pango Books from a seller that I really like. She gave me a good deal on both of these books together. The first one being a Richard Bachman book. If you don't know, Stephen King is Richard Bachman, and he was pretty upset when people discovered it was him because he didn't want people to know. Stephen King's an interesting guy. But yeah, he wrote under the name Richard Bachman, and he wrote The Regulators, and these books came out right around the same time. And as you can see, this artwork is super cool. If you look on the back, there's like a little smoking bullet hole that shows you kind of a peep into the book he wrote as Stephen King, which these match up, and I'll show you. And that is Desperation. From what I've gathered, a lot of people like Desperation more than The Regulators, and there's a lot of confusion on which one you should read first. Because apparently, like, if you read Desperation, The Regulators kind of touches on characters, but, like, adds more. But if you read The Regulators before Desperation, it kind of ruins Desperation. I don't know. I'm going to read both eventually. But I love this artwork. And if you put them together like this, they kind of make, like, a whole picture. And I think that's super cool. So, yeah, that is it for the books. Pretty happy with those, you know. I love reading. It's such like a calming thing for me, as somebody who deals with anxiety. Like, you would not believe, reading takes my mind because I can actually focus. Normally I can't focus on things, but when I read, like, my mind doesn't wander, and it's super nice. We're gonna go ahead and get into the movies. Just one that was sent to me, 2 that I bought, and then the other ones were sent to me from my buddy Trav. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first one, this was sent to me, and the company that reached out gave me the option between 2, and I chose this one because I've heard the ending was absolutely insane, and I was curious to see how Sydney Sweeney was going to do in a horror like role in a movie, because I know her from Euphoria. I think that's what really kind of launched her career. Correct me if I'm wrong. My wife liked that show. I've watched some of it. I didn't watch all of it, but like it's not a hard show to follow. And then she was in that rom-com that came out earlier this year called Anyone But You. And my wife and I watched it, and as I like the movie, but her acting was just so dry and boring, and I just don't feel like it fit her very well as a character. Like, she's just, I don't know, she's very like just bland when she acts. Maybe that's just me, I don't know, but in the horror role, she absolutely crushed it. And I should honestly preface by saying that I feel like she's going to do better in kind of like the horror movie space. Like, I could definitely see her becoming a screen queen for sure. This movie was really good. It was very, if you've watched the first Omen, which is on Hulu, I do plan on getting it when it comes out because I have the Omen box set. These movies are very similar, but I feel like this one just has more. I really enjoyed the first Omen. I liked it. Both movies, definitely a lot of gore, if that's your thing, but very, very similar in terms of story. It's really odd how similar they really are, but I feel like this one just kind of, where the first Omen stops, this one just kind of takes that concept and just pushes it a little bit farther, and it's super good. The ending is not what you would see coming at all. But it was really good. I really liked it. So Sydney Sweeney definitely does better in horror movies, in my personal opinion. Next up, this was from Vinegar Syndrome's Halfway to Black Friday sale. I love Vinegar Syndrome. I don't buy from them a whole lot, usually only when they do sales. And they have to be pretty decent sales because their stuff gets pretty expensive. So I purchased this movie in a t-shirt, and if you bought a t-shirt, you got a free comic book, which I'm actually just going to sell. I would show you, but it's very sexualized, I guess, and YouTube doesn't like that stuff. But this is the documentary I picked up from them, and it is King on Screen. Obviously, I love Stephen King, if you couldn't tell. And this movie kind of dives in on how his books turned into movies and how, you know, a lot of people were fighting to turn Stephen King novels into movies. And I didn't know this, and I'm sure this is pretty common knowledge, but he actually hated Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining. He hated it so much that they did a Shining miniseries, which follows more closely to the book. I guess Stanley Kubrick's version, which is a great movie, by the way, I like it, just is not even close to the book. So there's that. Also, he absolutely hated Maximum Overdrive because the movie absolutely failed, but became a cult classic way later down the line. It was his directorial debut. But it's just so cool how this man's books just influenced so many great iconic movies. You have The Green Mile, you have The Shawshank Redemption. Those would have never happened if it wasn't for this man right here, Stephen King. And this slipcover is gorgeous. Really good documentary. I did enjoy it. Next up, this is a new release. This one I knew I was getting. My son is obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's. My son is obsessed with Godzilla. My God, does this kid love Godzilla. They're like two of his favorite things, Godzilla and Five Nights at Freddy's. If they could do a mashup, he would probably die the happiest person in the entire world if that ever happened in his lifetime. And that is Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. I kept calling this Godzilla vs. Kong for the longest time, and it's a completely different movie, obviously. What is there to say about this movie? It was fun. I wish there was more fighting in it, but my son was just blown away by this movie, and I liked it too. I had fun. We did watch Godzilla -1 when it dropped on Netflix. Absolutely fantastic movie. I hope it gets a US release. But this movie was good. I did enjoy it. It was fun. It was just monster action, you know. Okay, so these next movies are from my buddy Trav. You guys know Trav Tries here on YouTube. I was going to film a video because he sent me like another care package, but I was going to work that day, and like I just opened it up and I filmed a TikTok and I didn't like it, and I ended up deleting the draft. I never posted it, but Trav, if you're watching this, thank you, man. There was some really great stuff in there. He got me a really awesome Catwoman shirt, an Exorcist shirt, a thing for my wife, which is hung up in her office, and then these movies, which I picked these movies out before my son was born, and my son's almost a year old, so that's how long it takes Trav to send mystery boxes, in case anybody becomes friends with Trav and you get to the point in your friendship where you send each other care packages. It takes a really long time, but it's just like a running joke we have, and it's just, we love it. So the first thing that he picked up for me is Fast and the Furious 9 movie collection, and this thing has like so many, like, there's a slip cover, and then you pull it out, and there's this box, and then the box is a slip case, and like, yeah, these are all from a used movie store that was in, you know, close to where he lives. So yeah, this was like really expensive to buy new. So he picked this up used, and yeah, I have Fast 10, so now I have every movie. I still have not watched Fast X, Fast 10, whatever you want to call it, and I've had it for probably almost a year now. Like, right around the time when it came out. I believe I bought it for, like, Black Friday last year, maybe? I can't remember, but I've had it for a while. I've never seen anything past Fast 5, so my wife and I started rewatching these, and yeah, eventually I'm going to get there, because I just know they get ridiculous. Ooh, let me put these in order. So next up here we have The Hangover, the first movie on Steelbook. There are 3 of these movies, and I've only ever seen the first 2. I've never seen the third one. Obviously, really nice Steelbook. This is from a used movie store. Like I said, it is super scratched up. That it probably would bother some people. There's a nice big dent that creases the whole back here in the top. I'm not somebody that cares too much about the condition of steelbooks. I know people put them in protectors and everything, and if you do that, that's awesome. I just, mine get a lot of shelf wear. We watch a lot of movies, so movies are constantly being taken in and out of my shelves and moved around, and they're going to get scratched up. It is what it is. But just super happy to have this steelbook in my collection for The Hangover Part 1. Then we have the steelbook for The Hangover Part 2 with the monkey. And again, another good one. I've never seen the third movie. Unfortunately, they did not have the third movie on Steelbook. I don't even know if it got a Steelbook release, but Trav did go ahead and pick up Part 3, The Hangover Part 3 for me. I will have to watch this because, again, I've never seen Part 3, so there's that. And then a movie that I've been wanting to see for a really long time, and Trav found it for me on 4K, and my wife and I watched it, and I absolutely loved this movie. And that is Brightburn on 4K. It looked so good. The movie was so good. The characters were so good. It is an anti-superhero movie. And, you think it would have the cliche ending where they stop him. Spoiler alert, they don't. It's awesome. This movie's great. I love it. And that is everything that I got. And I got this hat. This is pretty much broke, and it looks like I have $1 in there, but I definitely don't. Really cool hat from a YouTuber that does like sneaker content and clothing content that I've been following for years. So I had to support his brand because that's just true. Pretty much broke because adulting sucks. But guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys are brand new to the channel. As always, I hope to see you later in another video. Let me know, have you guys watched any of these movies? Have you read any of these books? I want to know what you think, so leave it down in the comment section below. If you don't, that's fine. My videos don't get much engagement anyway. But to those of you that do watch, thank you so much. I appreciate you more than you ever know, and I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.